Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, we're discussing Surah Yunus today, some part of it. And we'll start at Ayah 75. And just for reference, this is the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And, we'll see what happens. Let's look at the ayat first. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ثم بعثنا من بعدهم موسى وهارون إلى فرعون وملئه. And then we sent after them, and the context here is there are other messengers being mentioned before. So Allah says we sent down after them, after those previous messengers, Musa wa Harun. Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam, ila Fir'aun, towards Fir'aun, wa mala'ihi, and his mala, his leaders. And this is where I'll tell you the translation leaders for mala isn't quite accurate, because Fir'aun and his leaders, they weren't his leaders, they were people under him who were the intellectual elite, right? So yeah, the mala of Fir'aun being his military commanders and generals and whatnot, right? So we sent down Musa and Harun towards Fir'aun and his mala. بآياتنا فاستكبروا وكانوا قوما مجرمين. With our ayat, with our signs. So, we sent to Fir'aun and his mala. Musa and Harun were sent with the signs of Allah. فاستكبروا. But then they did takabbur. They were arrogant, right? The Fir'aun and his mala, they were arrogant. فاستكبروا وكانوا قوما مجرمين. And they were a criminal people. They were a wrongdoing people. مجرمين. فلما جاءهم الحق من عندنا. So when the truth, the haqq, came to them from Allah, from us, Allah says, when it came to them from us, قالوا إن هذا لسحر مبين. They said that this is surely this is clearly magic. This is 100% magic. This isn't true. And then Allah says, قال Musa alayhi salam said, أتقولون للحق لما جاءكم. Do you say this للحق لما جاءكم, about the after this haqq, after this truth, about this truth that has come to you? السحر هذا ولا يفلح الساحرون. Is this magic? And the magicians, لا يفلح, they can never be victorious. They can never be, they can never have falah in this world, and they can never succeed in this world, right? And so basically Musa alayhi salam is do you not know me? Do you not you know my character? You've seen me. I've been among you for so many years. I'm not a magician. Magicians aren't like this. So this isn't clear magic, and this, right? قالوا, they said, أجئتنا لتلفتنا. You have come to turn us away. لتلفتنا is basically to turn us away. عما وجدنا عليه آباءنا, from whatever our predecessors were on, whatever our fathers were on, the religion of our fathers. You want to turn us away from that. وتكون لكم الكبرياء في الأرض. And so that you can become the greatest authority, the kibriya, the biggest in the land. So you can have authority and power in the land. You too, Musa and Harun. وَمَا نَحْنُ لَكُمَا بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. And we are not believing in you. We're not going to be mu'mineen. We're not going to have iman in you. وقال فرعون ائتوني بكل ساحر عليم. And Fir'aun then said, bring me all the all the skilled magicians, all the magicians who really know their stuff, bring me all of them. And like keep in mind that the event of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, the story of Musa alayhi salam, where the magicians were called, and we'll see, like the detail will come. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ السَّحَرَةُ, and when the magicians came, قَالَ لَهُم مُوسَى, Musa alayhi salam said to them, أَلْقُوا مَا أَنْتُم مُلْقُونَ, throw whatever you are going to throw. Throw it down, right? And again, keep that story in your mind that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, the asa that he had, the stick that he had, it would become a snake, right? It would become like a big cobra snake, whatever. But when the magicians came, they were like, okay, we'll, have a magic competition with you. Like Pharaoh called them and they're like, defeat this guy. So they came and they threw down their ropes and they became snakes as well. The ropes of the magicians, right? So, and Hazrat Musa alayhi salam hasn't thrown down his stick yet. So he said to the magicians, throw down whatever you're going to throw. And the ayat say, فَلَمَّا أَلْقُوا, and so when they had thrown down, قَالَ Musa alayhi salam said, مَا جِئْتُمْ بِهِ السِّحْرِ, whatever you have brought, whatever you've brought, this is clearly magic. This is sihr. So it was clear. He knew that this was magic. إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَيُبْطِلُهُ, indeed Allah will expose it, like Allah will make clear the lie in it, or will make clear the wrongness of it. Batala will make clear that it is batil, right? Inna Allah la yuslihu amal al mufsidin, and indeed Allah does not correct, and Allah does not make amends to the amal al mufsidin, the acts of or the work of those who spread fasad, who spread corruption in the land. وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ, and Allah will make haqq, Allah will establish the truthfulness of His words. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ, no matter how much the mujrimun, the criminals, dislike it. And keep in mind, the mujrimun was used previously as well to describe Fir'aun and his mala, right? So no matter how much they dislike it, Allah will establish the truthfulness of His word, of His kalam. بِكَلِمَتِهِ. فَمَا آمَنَ لِمُوسَى, but no one believed Musa alayhi salam, إِلَّا ذُرِّيَّةٌ مِّن قَوْمِهِ, except the dhurriyat is kids, the children. So it's essentially a reference to the youth, basically. إِلَّا ذُرِّيَّةٌ مِّن قَوْمِهِ, except the youth of his qawm, of his nation. عَلَى خَوْفٍ مِّن فِرْعَوْنِ وَمَلَئِهِمْ أَن يَفْتِنَهُمْ. And why did no one else believe? Because they were afraid. They were خَوْفٍ مِّن فِرْعَوْنِ وَمَلَئِهِمْ, that the Fir'aun and his mala, his the mala of him, basically, we've had that discussion already. They were afraid of him that yaftinahum, they would put them in fitna, they would test them in the sense that they would persecute them, they would punish them, right? وَإِنَّ فِرْعَوْنَ لَعَالٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الْمُسْرِفِينَ, and indeed Fir'aun was la'alin, he was like, he all he did was, he was all in his head. He was like, I will do whatever I want to do, there's no greater power above me. So he was like zalim, he was going to be oppressive in the land. وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الْمُسْرِفِينَ, and indeed he was from the musrifin, the ones who do israf. Israf is basically crossing boundaries, transgression. He was among the transgressors. وَقَالَ مُوسَى يَا قَوْمِ, and Musa alayhi salam said, O my people, ya qawm, In kuntum amantum billahi, if you have believed in Allah, فَعَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلُوا, then have tawakkul. Rely upon Him. Trust Him. In kuntum muslimin, if you are the Muslimin, if you are submitting to Him. Now, let's go back a bit. We had the whole discussion previously about why it is important and why it is most pressing to seek hidayah in youth, and why it becomes progressively harder the more time you spend in this world, the more settled you get in life, the harder it becomes for you to get hidayah, right? We've already had that discussion. So that's, again, keep all of that in mind, and then look at this. No one believed in him, in Musa alayhi salam, except the youth, except the children of his qawm, right? So now, and why did the rest not believe in him? Because they were afraid of Fir'aun, and Fir'aun being ghalim, of being oppressive of them, of persecuting, Fir'aun persecuting them. But didn't the youth have the same fear? Well, not quite. Because, for one thing, the rest of the people, they had vested interests, right, in the system. They had houses, they had families, they had, businesses. They were, sure, it was an oppressive regime, but they were still living in it. They weren't, being killed left, right, and center. They were living within it. So they were, in a way, a part of that system. It was hard they knew that if they, risked that, if they accepted the message of Musa, if they accepted Islam, then the persecution from Fir'aun wouldn't just be, oh, you'll be killed. That's like a very generic. The thing is, throughout Islamic history, you'll see that once people accept Islam, once people truly believe, right, it's not hard for them to come to terms with the fact that, oh, you'll be killed. Because then you have that purpose of being killed, the whole concept of shuhada and all of that. So you have eternal reward. That's not really a big deterrence for people accepting Islam, that, oh, I'll be killed. The problem being is it will be made hard for you to live, the practical aspect. You're like, oh, how will I won't get accepted in job interviews or admission interviews, or, if people see me with a beard, I won't be given jobs. Or if for girls, let's say you start doing hijab, you won't, people say you won't get marriage proposals. It's actually bullshit like this that keeps us from accepting the truth and truly embracing Islam fully. So it's this what we call practical thinking in this world, but we need to understand this part, that in kuntum amantum billahi, if you truly believe in Allah, if you have iman in Allah, فَعَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلُوا, then have tawakkul in Him. Then once the command of Allah is here, then there's no practical thinking. You're supposed to think practically, don't get me wrong. You're supposed to think practically and logically and, intellectually for matters in this world. But when the command of Allah is here, then there's no more practical thinking. Then there's no more questioning, and then there's no more ifs and buts and whys. Then there's sami'na wa ata'na. I hear and I obey. There's no ifs and buts and, why should I do this? What's the reasoning behind it? What's the hikmah behind it? There's none of that. If you truly believe in Allah, in kuntum amantum billahi, فَعَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلُوا, then in Him, then upon Him have tawakkul. Rely upon Him, have trust in Him. If Allah is saying that go fight, then you go fight. There is no, oh, it's not practical right now. We don't have enough strength. We don't, we're not strong enough. We can't fight them. They're a really strong enemy. None of that. 313 fought a fought an army of 1,000. And mind you, this army of 313, they were a newly established state. They had practically no weapons, no military weaponry, no resources, nothing. Right? They are fighting a well-established army of 1,000 and winning. The point isn't, they didn't know they were going to win. When they were leaving, they didn't have a guarantee that they were going to win. All they had was tawakkul in Allah. That if Allah is asking us to go fight, then there's only two outcomes. And there are two outcomes, and I forget the ayah, but it's in the Quran, in one of these surahs before, that there's only two outcomes, and both of them are husnayain. They're both good outcomes. They're both ideal, beautiful outcomes. It's either shahada or you come back victorious. This is the mentality of a mu'min. This is the mentality of a Muslim. In kuntum muslimun. If you are Muslims, if you are truly Muslims, then فَعَلَيْهَا تَوَكَّلُوا. Have tawakkul in Allah. Forget what happens in the world. Forget what people say. Forget what seems logical and practical and intuitive to you. When Allah has made it clear that this is what you need to do, you do it. If Allah is saying, leave everything and go pray, then go pray. An exam gets skipped, forget it. You lose a job interview, you miss a big project, literally, you don't know the kind of blessings that are in it for you. Only Allah knows that. So when you hear that hayya ala salah, you drop everything and you go pray. If Allah says having a beard is the command, okay, there's a whole different debate of whether a beard is sunnah or wajib or whatnot. I won't touch that right now. But at the least, it's sunnat muqqada, right? And according to vast majority of scholars, it is, you are sinful for shaving, right? Why don't you? Why don't you grow a beard? You think out of fear of being judged? Out of fear of not getting jobs and admissions and opportunities? Honestly, F opportunities. Excuse my language, like, I'm really sorry, but forget about the opportunities. Islam needs so much more. This is not even the basics. This is not even the fundamental. This is like level -1. If you cannot even accept something as simple as growing a beard and praying 5 times a day, then I'm sorry, but Islam does not need you. Islam does not need you. You are too weak. You are way too weak for Islam. We don't need you. Go try Buddhism. Because Islam will need sacrifice. Islam will need jihad. Islam will need you to work. Islam will need you to sacrifice. Islam will need you to... We don't even realize the demands Islam and Quran and Allah makes of us. We don't. We think in such a narrow scope that namaz, roza, zakat, hajj, done. We are going straight to Jannah. We've we completely disregard such big aspects of Islam that it is literally, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't. We are living in such big delusions, and we think that we will go to Jannah. The Jannah is for us if we can't even get up for Fajr. Literally, shame upon us. Shame upon us. Let me show you what. Let me see. There's this ayah. Allah says, أَجَعَلْتُمْ سِقَايَةَ الْحَاجِّ وَعِمَارَةِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. Have you made siqayata, bringing water for, providing water to, al-hajj wa imarata, the hajis, the ones who are there for hajj and umrah, wa amirata, wa imarata, then umrah, al-masjid al-harami, and, you know, taking care of Masjid al-Haram, kaman amana billahi, like those, have you made this stuff, bringing them water and providing water for them and taking care of Masjid al-Haram, have you made it equivalent to, have you made it like those who amana billahi, have iman in Allah, wal yawm al-akhiri, and in yawm al-akhirah, wa jahada fi sabilillahi, and those who fight in the way of Allah, those who do jihad in the way of Allah, la yastawuna inda Allah, they are not equal for Allah. They are not equal near to Allah. You can say whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, but in the eyes of Allah, these two aren't equal. Wallahu la yahdil qawm al-zalimin. Allah does not give guidance to these zalim people, to these wrongdoing people. So we need to, and you know, this philosophy, this point of view exists a lot in our society, doesn't it? Oh, Islam isn't all about just praying, and Islam isn't about spending time in the masjid. Islam is about being good to people. Forget prayers and forget this and forget that. You know, be good to people. Do service to humanity. That's the core of Islam. No, it's not. You don't know you don't know the first thing about Islam if you think Islam is all about service to humanity while forgetting huququllah. I heard someone say that what's the point of sacrificing animals on Eid al-Adha? You should instead spend that money and, you know, place water coolers or like grocery rations and, you know, distribute those for the poor people. We have such twisted views of service to humanity in Islam that we want to justify just about anything we want in the name of Islam. Islam does not, service to humanity does not mean you cannot fulfill huquq al-ibad and forget about huququllah. You cannot do that. You can try, but you'll find your answer on the Day of Judgment. So we need to expand our scope about what Islam means. We need to expand our scope about what it asks of us, what it demands of us, and we need to stop living in the delusion of we are the people of paradise because we are the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sorry, that's not how it works. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not even guarantee his own daughter Jannah because of the fact that she was his daughter. He said, I won't, being the daughter of Muhammad won't help you one bit. He told Fatima radiallahu anha that. Who are you and me? Who are we the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are the ummah. If we are the ummah, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will have nothing to do with the ummah on the Day of Judgment. I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's the truth. We need to really critically analyze where we're standing, and we need to really look into the Quran with wide open eyes to try and understand what it asks of us and what it demands of us. Because at the pace and the direction we're going nowhere but straight to Jahannam. I'm talking about all of us, me included. The direction, the pace, what we're doing, this is good. This is not going to take us to Jannah. That's not how it works. Islam is much more than just service to humanity and just sujood and just ruku and just hajj. That's not how it works. May Allah guide us all. May Allah truly, truly guide us to His path. And may Allah help us understand and be part of the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his ashab radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. We need to really make them our true role models. We need to look at their lives. We need to see the sacrifices they made and the mission they made those sacrifices for. And we need to start to fix our lives in a way that we can make those sacrifices as well. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.